Thank you so much, Hans, and welcome, everyone. Good morning. I am so glad to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbia online, a congregation striving to embody courageous love, radical welcome, and deep connection. We are so grateful to be gathered as we are able, reminded that our church is not a building, but is the ways that we are connected. I am the Reverend Molly Housh Gordon, minister of this congregation, and I'm so glad to welcome you to our community. Although we miss gathering in person on Sundays, our online services have given us the opportunity to meet people we might not have otherwise. We welcome in particular any guests from the Jefferson City UU Fellowship, as well as all of you who might be visiting from Missouri and beyond. A few comments about protocol for today's online worship. We are in Zoom and streaming live on Facebook. For those of you joining us on Zoom, we are in webinar mode, so we can't hear or see you. Feel free to eat your breakfast in your PJs, and don't worry if your dog is barking or your day is a bit noisy. In fact, today is our animal blessing service for the first time experienced from each of your homes. And so today we particularly hope that you will be surrounded by the purrs, cheeps, breathing, scratching, and jingling collars of your animal companions. You will be able to say hello and interact with the service for our Zoom users through the chat feature and for our Facebook users in the comments thread. Zoom users, make sure you select everyone or panelists and attendees so we can all see your comments. This will be particularly useful if you want to share a joy or sorrow later in the service, or also later in the service share about the wisdom of the animals. If this is your first time worshiping with us, we'd like to invite you to fill out a digital visitors card, which will be posted in the chat so that you can let us know a little bit about you and we can connect you to what we're up to here at the church. Lastly, I'd like to thank the folks that make our online worship possible. Thank you to our tech hosts, April Rodiguero and Linda Valentine today, to our worship associate, Sam Otten, and to Sam for the digital arts videos, and to our religious educator, Jamila Batchelder, music director, Jeremy Wagner, and pianist, Hans Hareth. I invite you now to relax and enjoy our prelude.
Anarchy!
Our opening words this morning are by the poet Christine Walters Paintner, a piece titled Earth as the Original Liturgy. And her words have been set to video by the Work of the People Visual Liturgy Project.
Listen to how everything sings. The streams and stones, leaves and branches, fish and fur-covered ones, birds leading the chorus. See how your desire to praise is echoed in every living thing. How in quiet moments the heart is moved to gratitude for all of creation, for the lavish abundance of it all. How nothing is earned, no achievements are needed. May you simply show up with breath, blood, and bones, and your loving attention to hymns erupting everywhere, until you can no longer tell where yours begin and nature's ends.
Let us now join in singing with the liturgy of nature, a hymn of praise for our creaturely friends and our whole earth. All creatures of the earth and sky will sing verses 1 through 4. They'll be up on your screen, and Jeremy and Hans will lead us.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. We come now to our chalice lighting and words of affirmation. You may wish to light a candle at home or look in the chat for a digital chalice. As we light our chalices, the symbol of our faith, will you please join me in lifting your voices in homes across our city, our country, and our world to share our weekly words of affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our centering moment is a meditation by Gary Kowalski called Interspecies meditation. So please take a moment to center yourselves and prepare for this meditation. Look into the eyes of an animal. It might be your own companion right there with you in the room. It might be an animal outside that you see through the window. It might be an animal whose face you call to mind from memory or from nature and hold in your imagination. And as you look into those eyes, reflect that this being is a never to be duplicated expression of the universe. Pay attention to what you see. The years of living present within those eyes and the vitality that shines through their color and transparency. Contemplate their shape. Notice the angles and curves of individuality that make the face of this creature a unique work of art crafted by time and desire. And as you look into this being's eyes, pay attention also to what you cannot see, the inwardness, the selfhood, the I that is as singular as its outward expression. What you look upon is a living spirit. Greet and respect it. Appreciate it for what it is. Ask yourself, what does it feel like to be this creature? What does the world look like through its eyes? Become aware of the great antiquity within those eyes, the millennia of evolution they hold within their gaze. Sense a solitude you can never fully enter into or understand. Be aware that this is a being who has known hardships and hurts you could never imagine. This is a being who has known moments of wildness and innocence that you can never share. Yet this is a creature who is alive and has desires like you. It walks the same ground or occupies the same sky and breathes the same air. It feels pain and enjoys its senses, the dazzling warmth of the sun, the cooling shade of the forests, the refreshing taste of pure water, as you do. And in this, we are all kin. In that kinship, all life exists. Through that kinship, we can find wholeness. Out of that kinship, we can draw wisdom and understanding for the healing of our common home. Now will you please join in singing a hymn at home. It's a song of gratitude for all our furry, feathered, and scaled kin. Our hymn is entitled, "We Celebrate the Web of Life."
We celebrate the
Now is the time in our service when we hold one another in heart across the distance, knowing that our community is with us and that we are held in love amid life's sorrows and joys alike. I will begin by sharing the joys and sorrows submitted at our website, and then I will invite those gathered to share your joys and sorrows in the chat. Let us join our hearts with Linda Lou Brown, who shares that Robert's father, Robert Lee Brown, passed away this week at the age of 97, who had spent the last 15 years living alone in his home on a farm near Madison, Missouri, and who was buried this weekend in Madison beside Robert's mother, Vera Louise Brown, who died in 2005. All of our love and sympathy to the whole family. We join our hearts with Patty Dawes, who shares great joy for having Bernice Wydell in her life, great sorrow from her death from COVID-19, and great joy for all the love and support that Paul and Patty have received. Patty writes, "Stay well, my friends." Patty, all of our love and sympathy is holding you and Paul in this time. We join with Stacy, who shares the absolute joy brought to her family by all of their pets, even the hissing cockroaches we won't see in the video later. Their one-legged pet chicken has taught them so much about resilience and strength and how to talk like a chicken. And not a day goes by they don't laugh at their dogs Toaster and Lincoln and stroke their soft ears. Let us share gratitude for all of the beings in our lives. And Stacy is also grateful for the swift action of Isaac's team at Rockbridge High School in making some much needed changes to his schedule this week. Let us share prayers of gratitude for all teachers and caregivers helping with the lives of our children in this difficult time. We join our hearts with Megan Gore, who shares joy for she and Lance's wedding that happened on the 19th of September, for the perfect weather, for the people who've been there with them and for them, and they offer a thanks to me for writing a ceremony for them that embodied the essence of the space where they got married. Congratulations, Megan and Lance. We join our hearts with Tim in good wishes to Alberta, beginning physical therapy for her elbow tomorrow. May they be merciful with you. And we join our hearts in prayer for every person suffering from COVID-19, for everyone ill, for every life lost, for every family in pain or in mourning, and for every person struggling in unique ways with the impact of the virus on our shared life. I will now share your joys and sorrows from the chat. We join our hearts with Mindy in gratitude for a visit with her parents, Jack and Kathy Ferguson, who are joining them from Michigan. Also, the family is remembering grandparents who would have celebrated birthdays this month. Joy from Lisa Guillory that next weekend she will finally see her parents after not having seen them for 10 months. May that be a wonderful visit. Jim Shanto shares joy for being able to meet via Zoom with many old friends and relatives from coast to coast. We join with Sarah, who shares joy and gratitude for fall, her favorite season. It's mine too. These things and so many more, joys and sorrows, too tender or personal to share, we hold together across the distance with our hearts connected in the spirit of love. Let us continue in this spirit of connection and prayer with a time of memorial during this animal blessing service, as we remember the animal companions no longer with us in this life. Loving an animal is a poignant act, knowing as we do that our lives are likely to outlast theirs. Yet, as love always is, loving an animal is an act worth the certainty of loss. We remember on this day the many animals who have blessed our lives with love. Let us now gaze upon them and hold in heart those whom we do not see in the video. May their memories be a blessing, as their lives and their presence in our lives so clearly were. And may their human companions find peace in remembering. Amen.
Our first reading is by Teresa I. Soto. It's called When Your Best Friend Has 4 or So Legs. What it means to have a pet is to love someone who speaks a language you do not. A dog will bow and prance, a cat will purr and blink, a guinea pig will giggle and squeak. A long time ago, a friend of mine had a dog with soft ears and considered herself the pup's guardian. A gentle way to think of protecting and caring for a friend, such a small gesture of respect for a source of boundless love. The dog's long pink tongue lolling in a goofy grin. The cat convinced that kneading and grooming are crucial to this day. A bird asking for a treat, bending a wing to wave. These are friends. They are loves. It's kind of a surprise that you should love someone so much who would eat the butter on the table if they could get away with it, and get endless hair on the sofa when they aren't even supposed to be on the furniture. When they are called companion animals, it's such an open, tender truth. The endless cuddles and tricks and loyalty, the comfort of fingers to fur and big, adoring eyes. These are friends. They are loves. They stretch our hearts and fill them with their abundance of kindness. When they are gone, our hearts remain larger, though their absence leaves room for expanses of grief. Their love champions and companions us still. Next, we welcome one of our good friends and members, Scott Denson, who will share a song with us. Good morning, Scott.
Howdy. How are you, Sam? Hello, everybody. I miss you all. I miss seeing you, and those that I don't know, I miss knowing you. So, anyway, we're going to sing a song. It's called "All God's Creatures Got a Place in the Choir," and I'm sure some of you know it. Probably a lot of you, particularly the chorus. It goes, "All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher. Some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now." So I hope y'all sing at least that part with me. And whenever we sing the chorus, I'll give you a 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures, just like that. So anyway, and I might slow down, speed up, but this is what I'm going to do, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just pass their hands or falls or anything they got now. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Okay, I'm going to sing a verse now. Well, listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with a big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo. Old cow just goes moo. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with a big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo. Well, you might have noticed that I sang the wrong verse there, about half of one, half the other. So I'm going to try it again. The dogs and the cats, they take up the middle where the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles and the donkey brays and the pony neighs and the old gray badger sighs. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Listen to the top where the little bird sings, and the melodies and the high notes ringing, and the hoot owl cries over everything, and the blackbird disagrees. Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day, and the little cuck quacks and he's on his way, and the otter ain't got much to say, and the porcupine talks to himself. I do that myself sometimes, and then our dang bird, Joyce says our bird, makes fun of me, and he grumbles to himself too. So hey, you know, badgers probably too. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day, and the little tuck quacks and he's on his way, and the otter hasn't got much to say, and the porcupine talks to himself. I did that again, didn't I? All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Okay, I am going to sing it slow now. It's a simple song of living, sung everywhere, by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear and the grumpy alligator and the hawk above, the sly old weasel and a turtle dove. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. 1, 2, 3, 4. All God's creatures got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, or some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. That was wonderful. It wouldn't be an animal blessing service at the UU Church of Columbia without Scott, I think, playing that song. So it's wonderful. I'm going to share with us our second reading, which is by Gary Kowalski, and this one is called We Give Thanks for the Animals. We give thanks for the animals who live close to nature, who remind us of the sanctities of birth and death, who do not trouble their lives with foreboding or grief, who let go each moment as it passes and accept each new one as it comes with serenity and grace. Enable us to walk in beauty as they do, at one with the turning seasons, welcoming the sunrise, and at peace with the sunset. As we gain wisdom from the animals, who love abundantly and in their time are loved, who freely give us their affection and loyalty, let us not be anxious for tomorrow, but ask only that kindness and gratitude fill our hearts, day by day, into the passing years.
I'm going to invite you for our homily this morning to journey with me through the last 6 months with lessons from the creatures. It is the middle of March, and my frantic life has ground to a halt. The whole world has closed in on us all in a bid to protect ourselves and those we love. My world is my household now: toddler, preschooler, spouse, dog. The dog is pleasantly surprised to find that we never leave. I find myself watching him for lessons on how to do this staying home most of every day thing. He sleeps a lot, cuddles up to claim comfort from us, shoves his ears under our hands, runs circles in the yard when he needs to let out some steam, barks at the squirrels and the neighborhood cat. His attention is focused close in. He is content in this small world, of which I am certain he considers himself the ruler. Be more like the dog, I tell myself each day. Be content with this small world. Find satisfaction and agency close in. Sleep more, cuddle lots. Soon it is fully spring, and we escape the house to play on the porch, crazed with frustrated energy. I'm just ahead of the children passing through the door when I notice that one side of the porch is smeared with what is left of a whole nest of baby birds. I shoo my own babies back inside, unwilling to answer their questions about what has transpired. Plus, it's really gross and it stinks. The dog may be sleeping and content, but the wild creatures are caught up now in a great drama, balanced on the razor thin edge between new life and death. After a stomach-turning moment of cleaning, I let the children back onto the porch and guide them to the cleaner side. Their energy is unabated, and I sit on the swing as they play, gliding back and forth over stained concrete and soberly remembering the fragile reality of creaturely life. I think of the Wendell Berry lines about the peace of wild things who do not trouble themselves with forethought of grief. And perhaps the part about forethought is true, but I suspect even the wildest creature is grieved, so grieved for how badly it can all go wrong in a moment. And I suspect there is not a being on earth whose life is not troubled. On the other side of the house, we spend the spring watching a nest of hatchlings that survive, tucked just so in the curve of the drain pipe. Every day, all day, we check in on the baby birds, and I wonder if we would have even noticed them in our life before these limitations. Mama Robin is constantly out gathering food for her ravenous little flock, troubled indeed. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth she goes while the little ones cheep, cheep, cheep and poke up their scrabbling little beaks. Mama Robin, I salute you as I spend my days doing little more than fetching snacks all blessed day long. Creaturely life is so repetitive and mundane sometimes. Feed the family, wash up, repeat. But then the little birds learn to fly. Right as our toddler's constant jabber turns to full sentences of real English words, it all pays off sometimes, doesn't it, Mama Robin? Now spring turns to summer, and a new season carries us forward in this time that feels so outside of time, reminding us that no matter how we feel, the days and seasons march on. There are young bunnies everywhere we look. In the yard, the dog sprints fruitlessly to catch them. On our little walks around the neighborhoods, our kids want to get close and say hello. But rabbits have been practicing social distancing far longer than we have spoken the phrase. And indeed, every time we get about 6 feet away, they hop on, wary of our approach. We are so tired of all the restrictions, and we are also very afraid. The rabbits remind us that our fear can be a wise teacher sometimes. It helps us survive. Full summer next, and the dog inside the house continues his long day napping while we head outside to play. The girls spend hours watching lines and lines of ants weave around the porch rail, down the steps, across the sidewalk, home to their colonies. The girls are especially delighted when they see the ants carrying bits of food bigger than them, supplies to stock up their communities. The ants are industrious in their collectivism. Our family puts up a cabinet at the foot of the yard, a little free pantry to share with our neighbors, to remind ourselves that we too are part of a collective. Every evening, the girls and I march down to the cabinet together in a line, carrying bags of pasta, peanut butter, dried fruit, and bread. We feel less helpless. We feel less alone. Summer stretches on and we are driven inside again and again by swarms of mosquitoes on the porch. The 2-year-old is covered in itchy welts and I am full of rage at their audacity to draw blood from my baby. All the rage of all this time laser focused on the mosquitoes. I slap at them. There is not always deeper meaning and dignity to be found in the animals. Not everything drips with beauty. There are just a very few creatures for whom I will not give thanks. And now it is fall, and the bears are becoming gorgeously fat in preparation for winter. Their bodies know how to survive cold, scarce times. The Katmai National Park in Alaska shares photos of the bears each year in October to connect people with these majestic creatures. And we get to vote on which of them has bulked up most gloriously in preparation for their long winter's isolation and rest. If I had known to prepare for this time, I would have gorged on your presence, my dear ones, filled up with it and become large with your smiles and your singing, your handshakes and hugs. Instead, I will take my lesson from the bears to trust my creaturely body as it grows and changes, to give thanks for every growing expanse of flesh sustaining me. Look how hard your body is working for your survival. Look how wise it is. The seasons march on. The world of creatures is vast. And the lessons to be had from the animals are perhaps even more infinite, a whole lifetime of unspoken and inscrutable wisdom in each one, wild and domestic. Let us not romanticize away their infinite mysteriousness, but let us neither forget that they are kin to us. Let us give thanks for their being, and let us learn even now from the whole breathing world. I'd like to invite you now into a brief time of meditation while Hans plays for us for about 3 minutes. And I'd particularly like to invite you to share in the chat something that you've learned from an animal during this time of challenge. Thank you for sharing these beautiful lessons. I hope you'll read through the chat to share in those. We're now going to take a moment to bless the animal friends currently in our lives. If you have an animal companion in your home that is nearby and consents to such a thing, you might put a hand to pet or stroke them, or you might call any animal to mind or look out your window. You may wish to repeat after me to share the blessing with the animal in your life or animals, or you may simply listen alongside your companion or alongside your thoughts. Our furry, feathered, and scaled friends, we greet you. You come from the same life force of creation that we do. We greet you as brothers, sisters, siblings. May your days be filled with love and whatever else you desire. May your tummies always be full, and may you always have a comfortable place to rest. May you have many days of love with your human friends. May you play together and work together in gentleness and respect for one another. Our furry, feathered, and scaled friends, may your lives be blessed. And thank you for how you bless ours. Let us now hold these words of blessing in heart as we gaze with gratitude upon the faces of some of the animals beloved to our congregation. What a way to end that. Thank you to Sam for making both of the lovely animal videos this morning. And thank you to each of these creatures for gracing our lives and teaching us so much. Now is the time in our service when we join in the spiritual practice of generosity, guiding our hearts away from the fear and scarcity all around us, and remembering that by sharing and supporting one another, we feel most human. Before we take this morning's collection, I want to celebrate and thank all who contributed to our Universal Salvation Utility Payoff fundraiser over this last week. Together with our wider community, we raised $11,000, which helped us quite literally keep the lights on for 25 families who would otherwise have had their power and water cut off tomorrow at the height of this crisis. I found myself many times over the course of the week feeling intense emotions, sorrow for the stories of struggle and desperation that I heard, anger that our leaders would disconnect people from basic needs during this economic and public health crisis, and most movingly, gratitude for the way our community is connected, for the love of our folks sending emails to their city councilors demanding better, and sending money to the church to help pay off their neighbors' bills. Community is what saves us. You are amazing. The power of love at the center of our faith is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And please keep contacting city leaders to pressure them to extend the grace period. Contact your city councilor after you log off today if you haven't already. Our offering this morning is for our operating budget, which keeps the lights on for our own staff and congregation, as our offerings often do. We are thankful for all the ways that you support both our church operations and our wider community. As we take a moment to pause and give, Jeremy will perform for us I've Got Me a Cat by Aaron Copland.
I got me a cat, my cat pleased me. I fed my cat under yonder tree. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I've got me a duck, my duck pleased me. I fed my duck under yonder tree. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I bought me a goose, my goose pleased me. I fed my goose under yonder tree. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I bought me a hen, my hen pleased me. I fed my hen under yonder tree. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I bought me a pig, my pig pleased me. I fed my pig under yonder tree. My pig says gravy, gravy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I bought me a cow, my cow pleased me. I fed my cow under yonder tree. The cow says baa, baa. My pig says gravy, gravy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I got me a horse, my horse pleased me. I fed my horse under yonder tree. The horse says neigh, neigh. The cow says baa, baa. My hen says griffy, griffy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee. I got me a dog, my dog pleased me. I fed my dog under yonder tree. My dog says woof, woof. My horse says neigh, neigh. My cow says baa, baa. My hen says griffy, griffy. My hen says shimmy shack, shimmy shack. My goose says quack, quack. My duck says quack, quack. My cat says fiddle-I-fee.
my gosh. That was too much fun. Our closing words are from the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high, but take courage. For deep down, there is another truth. You are not alone. Even now, especially now, you are not alone. We are with you across the distance. Go in blessing, dear ones, and be a blessing to a world that needs our care. Let us sing our benediction. Thank you to everyone who made this service in turns extremely fun and extremely meaningful. Thank you to all of you who submitted your pet pics. And we hope that maybe your animal friends will join us at coffee hour. We'd love to see our animal friends there as well. The meeting ID is on the slide. The link is in the chat. We'd love to see you and chat with you at coffee hour when we'll split up into breakout rooms to have some longer and more intimate check-in conversations with one another. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week when we'll talk about what to do with anger and rage in these times. And we'll see you then.